Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Hey, we're live.
Good
How's
day.
everybody doing? Dylan must be walking from uptown New York to get P. Diddy some cheesecake? Chappelle Show. The Woo Pig podcast. I don't think I've seen here. Welcome, Woo Pig. Unless you've changed your name. That is a unique name I think I would remember. The Woo Pig podcast. That's an awesome
We would hope,
name.
anyway.
Everybody in the house, you got Beresford. Woke up sick today. Had to log off work early. Nickel Ninja 2. Nickel Ninja 1 was taken, I guess. How's it going? Yeah, glad you could catch a live too. We also got SR375. By the way, SR375, brand new member to the channel. Cheers, buddy. I appreciate the support. Got Dimebag Coins in the chat. Who else we got? That's Poseidon. The Woo Pig says that his mainstream got delivered yesterday. Oh, there's going to be some questions. Richard at shieldsup.live. That's Richard Scarsian, I believe. Pep Peo. Greetings from Barcelona. And I believe that's everyone so far. I'm already watching your guys' reviews. Sometimes you make me buy things I don't need. You're welcome.
I'll take that as a compliment.
I like the UK. Good evening from the UK. How's it going? Yeah, we got the mainstream in. I've heard a few people talking about getting this in and having access to this. And this is what I'm streaming on right now. And I'm actually going to be probably doing a game stream a bit later. Peter, greetings from Melbourne, Australia. Good God, Peter, what time is it there? Like it's got to be like 5 a.m. there, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah. I think.
Damn. I have to see if you've reviewed it before pulling the trigger. Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad to know I'm on somebody's list. But yeah, we got the mainstream here. It's hard to hold up because it's all, attached to everything. Kind of want to see how it works. And compared to the Streamer X, so far, I haven't had any issues. 1080p output might be an issue for some, but the one thing I'm curious about, and actually, we've got Nickel Ninja. You said you bought it? Who said they bought it? No, it's Woo Pig. Woo Pig, you bought this, I would imagine. Have you been able to download the companion software? It's an interesting perspective with this, with the mainstream here. It's not out yet, the companion software. And all these buttons, the shapes that you have, they're apparently F1 buttons. They're F buttons. So they mimic any F button that you have on your computer, but they don't seem to do anything yet. And I'm wondering if those have to be set up through the companion software, which I'm guessing. It's 9 a.m. in Melbourne. Holy crap, is it ever? They're 14 hours ahead. Holy crap. Well, good morning, Dan. Or good morning, whoever. That was Peter. Good morning, Peter. Dan, are you in Melbourne? Hi from Oz. Oh, you're in Australia too. Damn, we got all the Australians in. I bought the SE Dynacaster and Rodecaster Duo after your reviews. How do you like the SE Dynacaster and the Rodecaster? I'm kind of curious. What do we got here? Audio sounds awesome. That's Richard. Thanks, Richard. I bought Pep Peo. What's the first thing that a Mike's fan do when receive mail that his new mic has been shipped? Jump for joy. Depends on the mic, I guess. If you really want the mic, be happy. The amount of time it takes from shipped to arrived, I guess, depends on what country you're in. So I know in Canada, it's usually pretty quick. Haven't tried yet. Had a live stream last night, so I didn't get a chance to play with it. Fair. Pedro from Portugal. Nice. I'm planning on being inside Portugal next year. Start to look for its next one. Yeah, that's what you do. Dimebag, how's it going, buddy? Dan, yeah, Melbourne here. Dang Dinong, actually, nice tongue twister there. Dan Dinong.
And Dinong.
Cool. I like it. The Rodecaster is great, but as a gaming streamer, I hate it. Trying to stream and record and keep friends' audio levels right just stinks. Yeah, you know what? Having to run your own mix can be a lot. It is a good thing to learn, though. In the end, you'll have a better quality product. So, so we have the Mackie MainStream here. I also have the Mackie the DLZ XS, the Creator XS, which looks kind of cool. We got a wrench in the house. Sneed's here. How's it going, buddy? The actual wrench is in the house. That's almost a pass. Oh, sweet. I actually got the name right. Cool. That's wild. I'm actually planning a trip to Australia soon, so I'll definitely be out and about trying to get all the names right. To be fair, in Canada here, there's some weird ass names too, so don't feel bad. What mics are you running today? MKH 416 and RE20. That's an RE27 on Dylan's stuff.
RE27, yeah.
Yeah. Here for moderator duties. Good job, man. Yeah, kick them out if they're being jerks. Liberty Dude, all macked out. Yeah, you know what? I've had a lot of complaints. Dylan, I kind of want to get your opinion on this. I've had a lot of complaints from people that are irritated that Mackie didn't go bigger with the latest release. Instead, they went smaller. That everyone's wanting, like with the DLZ Creator, they're like, why didn't they get more channels? Why didn't they get the bigger mixers? And it just seems kind of weird. Like there've been a lot of like minor little complaints that just kind of boggle the mind. Thoughts?
I mean, there's lots of like there's a huge market for small format equipment. I don't know like why people are critical of that. It's like, okay, this product maybe isn't for you. Like this is, you know, if you're using it for more than these things, obviously that's, you know, get something else. Like get something with more channels. Like I
don't understand the anger directed at companies when they release something you don't want. Like there's a couple of things that Mackie released that have no relevance to the work I'm doing. I'm not gonna get mad that they released them. Also, just they're going where the money is, man.
Yeah.
There's no money in like 16 out or 16 in mixers right now. Like there's money in them, but it's not like it's it's not like it's getting massive amounts of push. You know, you got a bunch of people needing 16 ins, and 4 ins tends to be the max that everyone wants.
Yeah, 4, you know, enough for like a small panel. I mean, if you're doing something bigger than that, either get a board to plug into the interface or the unit, which you can probably do for relatively cheap, to get like 12 or something.
Dimebag's got an interesting statement here. 2 seconds. SR375, I should do a collab with Dank Pods while I'm down under. I actually would love to do that. I'm looking forward to, I checked with Bandrew. Bandrew's not going to be at NAB. But I'm looking forward to see if there is anybody else within, like if you're in this microphone podcasting, live streaming kind of ethos, you'd expect that some people might be out. And I'm really looking forward to see who might be at NAB. And if I'm the only one, that's fine. But I would also, you know, I'll get all the views. But it would also be nice to kind of sit back and maybe have a little bit of content with each other. Dimebag says, did Mackie suddenly become totally legit in people's eyes where Mackie could have been thought of as more rinky-dink in the past? Dylan, do you think Mackie was rinky-dink in the past?
I mean, depends. They certainly had a phase where stuff was rinky-dink. And I mean, even now, like, they're not as rugged as they used to be. I mean, I've got a 90s Mackie, and in the 90s, Mackies were freaking built to last. Did they have all the frills? No. Like I'm on a 90s Mackie right now. Works. It's never been cleaned. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's been cleaned a little bit, but
I see how you keep your equipment. It's clean.
Those things get gross, right? Like after a while, especially like around the faders and just the crust in between.
It's interesting because like Mackie's never really shot for the stars, right? Like one of their biggest selling boards is an entry level, the Pro FX series. That's one of their biggest sellers, and it's one of the cheapest live boards, but also the most rugged, the most capable. Like even when I bought the Pro FX 12V2, it was good. Like it was rugged. It was metal chassis. I don't know what they're being built with now, but also they're not being built with that because it's cheaper to develop products that aren't heavy steel.
Yeah,
I mean, that is what it is. Whether or not they were rinky dink, I I don't know. That's like I look at like Behringer and stuff like that, and Mackie's always been above them, and you still see Mackie gear in people's studios.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Whereas you get into a professional studio, it's rare that you find Behringer in there. You know.
Yeah.
Do you consider Yamaha to be rinky dink? I don't. Yet they're around the same price point, same quality. And yeah, it's price to performance. I think Mackie's always been a little bit big on. We're getting behind here. Holy shit. SR375, Mac should go in all in with Ethernet and linking stuff. Need more inputs, add another interface to the net. I agree. I think that might be where Mackie is going with this long term. Who the hell is messaging me? I think they might be going with the NDI links for everything. And I think it's cool. I think it's a great idea, especially with cameras. There's no NDI on this, but with camera link up through NDI camera link is perfect. I don't know what, I think the latency is pretty decent. Liberty Dude, you're macked out. I love new gear. Mackie's brought it recently. Yeah, you know what? Mackie's bringing more to the scene. They're competing with themselves basically with Rode. I do have a theory though. Yeah, why not? So earlier this year, I did a video about what I think might be coming out in 2024. And this Streamer X was released last year. And even when it was released, I said that this Streamer X is kind of a test. It's to see what the community is going to do with this. Does the community want this? What the community wants more from it? And I think they were literally just putting it out and going, huh? And then everybody was like, it needs this, it needs that, it needs this, it needs that. And I think Rode's just the mainstream is kind of signaling to me that there's something bigger coming from Rode. And that's not to take away from the mainstream and what it is, but I think maybe Mackie might be pulling up that side of it while Rode ventures on forth with the bigger stuff. I think that's kind of the vibe I got with this. So I think it's going to be kind of fun. Today I bought a Mackie Pro FX 16 V3, but it's a different product. I don't know what that is. Yeah, the 16 V3 is decent. Pissed at Rode for the low price of the NT1 SS. The resale value on NT1 4th gen dropped significantly. That's Rick on mic. Yeah, yeah, it's hard, man. Just don't sell mics. I've come to the conclusion that all of my mics are going to be part of my locker for the next little while. So, and I don't think I'm getting rid of them. Only the Mackie speakers are garbage. I don't mind the Mackie speakers I got. They're decent. I definitely wouldn't classify them as garbage. Maybe not doing like high-end mixes on them, but they're decent. Dylan, we got way behind, buddy. So how's Dylan doing this week? You look busy.
Yeah, I'm a little tired. It's been I got the part to fix my interface. I think I talked about it on the stream before. I had ordered a new switch mode power supply for my SSL converters, and so got that in. Put that in. Did fix nothing.
I hate when that happens. That's my nightmare.
That's not the funny part. The funny part is while I was putting it in, it's on these metal risers, and then at the top of the metal risers, these little piece of shit plastic washers. And so unbeknownst to me, I put the board in, and it was contacting the metal post, and then I smelled burning. And so I took it out, and there was a resistor that was black. I was like, okay, obviously there's, but like this, I didn't even notice them there. These see-through, probably a quarter of a 16th of an inch thick. And yeah, so whatever. So I put a new resistor in there because I have resistors, yay me. And that was the same value. And then you put the old one back in.
1 second. My cat is literally at the window right above me, screaming in the window because he wants in. Needs to come in at the back door. Poor guy. He's not a winter cat. Anyways, yeah, that sucks. So did you replace the resistor?
Yeah, and it was fine. I just put a like plastic tape spacer underneath, and it worked. Did the job, but it didn't fix my problem. So I sent them an email back going, huh? And so we'll see what they have to say.
SR 375. My handle is after the Nevada State Route 375, aka Extraterrestrial Highway. That's good to know. So I'm calling you State Route 375 from here on out. Gear Junkie in the house. Yeah, he's at the back door, lol. What else we got? Dimebag. We got it. Okay, so we've caught up. Tyler's vids. Hi from New Zealand. We got all the other side of the world pulling in, eh?
Yeah. No
Dimebag. Rode and Neve come together for a 32-channel mixing console with Neve preamps.
Holy shit.
but you have to keep those sound pads.
That makes me happy.
that would be fun. Did you see Glenn from SMG? He got a Neve console.
Nice.
Yeah, he actually got, like, it's his dream console.
Yeah,
it's like $100,000. And my first thought when I saw the video, I'm like, my God, that's actually kind of small. Like, it's $100,000.
They're like, I don't know if it was one of the Rupert Neve Designs ones. Like, they have a lot of red knobs on it.
I can't remember. It was all I know is about the size of my desk.
Yeah, because there's a lot of even SSL, like with the Matrix and stuff, got into kind of mid format, like high quality pieces. And so I think, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the Rupert Neve Designs stuff. I can't, no, I seen one studio with a Rupert Neve Designs 5000 series console.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good piece. I mean, they're both companies are good, but it's like, is it a classic, like an AMS Neve, or is it like kind of the new, still amazing, but the new Neve?
Yeah. Mehmet Ali, Roadcaster Duo versus Mackie MainStream. To be perfectly honest, I think you mean Roadcaster Streamer X versus Mainstream. The Roadcaster Duo is completely different, doesn't have HDMI through. I'm still trying to figure that out. And I'm doing, this is like this weekend, I'm going over the Mainstream. I've been playing with it a bit. I'm going to be doing a live stream tonight or tomorrow. Not exactly sure, but I'm going to actually put a game through this. I went out and I bought a PS5 just for this, because somebody was asking about the HDMI being wonky going through a PS or going through console. Can I test it out? But also, the one thing that I really like about this that the Streamer X doesn't have is you can use a USB webcam with the Mainstream. So you can have the HDMI through, so all your video through going for your game footage, and then you can hook up just a webcam to get an actual view of yourself. That's really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm going to get this set up probably with this setup here. Which means we're probably going to be limited with the games I can play. But if I was going to go Mainstream versus Streamer X, like, it's kind of apples and oranges right now, right? Like the idea that you have more than one video source with the Mainstream versus Streamer X that has I think it's 4K 30 output. That's a big difference than the 1080p that the Mainstream has. So it's all going to kind of come out in the wash. I'm going to see what when I put them up against each other for the video, but I do need to live stream with it before I can actually come up with any concrete opinions on it. That should be interesting. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So if you guys want to watch a gaming stream, I don't know what game I'm going to play, but we'll see. The only reason I want the Mainstream is the fact Mackie did what Rode should have done with the USB. The fact I can use my camera versus USB closes the deal. Yeah, Walter, it's a good point, but what I said about the Streamer X, I think I kind of like hit the nail on the head. And this isn't Rode neglecting, because I think they released this with the idea of what the ultimate goal of this was. And their idea is the next goal they have is going to be a new unit. It's going to be the Streamer X2 or the Streamer X Pro 2 or whatever they want to call it. And I think that's the one that's going to build upon it rather than trying to reroute and take care. Like, I don't even think with the USB, this thing gets USB mics through it. I don't even think so. Like, having dual mics, having dual HDMI ins for podcasters, like being able to use this stuff for podcast recording with multiple cameras, multiple mics. Yeah, like that's a dream for a lot of podcasters right now, because in order to do that, you need like switching, you need a video switcher, and the setup is actually extremely expensive. So, and no, I don't think it's because they're turning into Apple. It's not saving the feature for an entirely different model. I think they're testing the market, and they built this to the highest spec that they could, and they just saw what the appetite was for it. We're well beyond the idea of one piece of gear lasting you your whole career. It's not the 70s or the 80s anymore. This is turning into more of a cell phone computer style upgrade process, that if you want to get the latest and greatest, you don't have to wait around. And the quality of products is going up just as enough to actually make it worthwhile year over year. So, I mean, every couple of years getting a new Rodecaster Pro, possibly. But I think it's more the peripheral stuff, like the streaming stuff. And also as the game actually changes, right, year to year, with streamers and how they want to do stuff and all that stuff. And it's also a kind of a new niche that has never really been filled before. So we'll see how it is. And yeah, turning into Apple isn't a bad thing per se. It's just you got to have the money to play.
Yeah.
That is the big issue with Apple, is it's not a cheap process. But you also, like, the reason it costs so much is because of the research and development that companies like Apple are willing to put into their products, man. Like, it's not cheap.
I just saw a report yesterday that was breaking down the cost of building an iPhone 14, and it costs $10 to manufacture that phone. But all of the work that went into developing it, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still a huge markup. But a lot of the value comes from the effort that was put into making that, like all the people that they had to pay to work on the design all need to, their salaries need to be made up somehow. So, I mean, that's the logic anyway.
Yeah, and you know what I mean, that makes sense. Just asked what the price is of the Mackie MainStream. I have US pricing. B&H. It doesn't have it at B&H. I have Canadian pricing, which I believe is $400, which means it's probably between $300 and $350. So my guess is probably going to be $299 or $350. One of the two. I can't. B&H photo. There it is. Wait. $299.99. There we go.
Nice.
For anyone that wants to see. What does that compare to the... That's actually an even better question. Let me put this up here. Present. Share screen. I can do this. Window. I'm so good at this.
Nice.
It's affirmation here. Okay, so this is the Mackie MainStream. No, I don't want B&H photo. $299. It ships right away. I know a lot of people have been getting this, but they don't have the companion app available for it yet. So let's see what the Rode Streamer X is priced at in comparison. B&H, same price, $399. So it's, oh crap, that's $100 cheaper than the Streamer X from the same basically the same company, the same parent company. That's an interesting choice, Dylan.
Yeah.
Releasing like your company under your own umbrella, releasing a product that completely squashes your product.
Yeah. I mean,
so does that mean that the Streamer X is obsolete? Like they've just released a product, the exact same product that does more, but is also $100 cheaper than.
I don't know.
Wow.
I think. Yeah, that's.
Walter says if you can actually record in 24p without stuttering, that's the other deal closer. I love Rode, but I do think Streamer X was more of a headache for them. Yeah, I think it's meant to work within OBS. So if you're recording with OBS, I think that's I've worked with the Streamer X since it was released. It's been the daily streamer for this channel, and I've never had a single problem with it. So I know there's some people that struggled with recording and stuff like that, but I've recorded a couple and not a single issue. So I think I think a lot of what it came down to with the Streamer X, and this is part of the not all cables are created equal, is the amount that this needed for data transfer required the cables to be pristine. And
Yep.
if you had one cable that wasn't pristine, data packets would get lost. HDMI cables are bad for that as well, dropping data packets. So, yeah, I don't know. Uh, we'll see. We'll see how the mainstream does. Whether or not we see an HDMI 2.1 type release from maybe Rode coming up in the future. I would have to say though, cables looks like the big problem for a lot of people with the Streamer X, and I can attest to that because I had that problem, right? So
Oh yeah.
everyone's telling me it's $299. All right, fair. The problem with the Rode software has always been the price of the mixers. The price of the mixers has always kind of been fair. I know it's out of range for a lot of people, but what you get from a Rode mixer, you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, it's true.
Go get a Zoom L8, but it still doesn't do what a Rodecaster Pro 2 does. And it's the same with all of Rode's products. If you can find the same thing, the same quality, the same product, the same output that the Rode series does, get it. But
Yeah.
I guarantee you the amount of money they drop into research and development, they're literally recapturing what they put in to everything. And that's not even like a oh my god, Rode's so amazing, but no one else is doing what they're doing. So they get to set the price for it because nobody's challenging them. The one company that did challenge them is now under their umbrella. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to argue with the people that are actually setting it, right?
Yeah, it's
So
true.
you got a point. Yeah, it's so tough, man. Like, what are you gonna do? Oh man, nothing's working on here now. Come on. Okay. Well, am I frozen, guys? Oh, you know what? Maybe it's because this. Remove that. I can't do anything. StreamYard has frozen up.
Uh-oh. We
All
still
right.
live?
We're gonna stay with Dan's thing on here. Dan's just gonna be talking about busting out Farming Simulator for the game stream. Yeah, I'll do that. Still live. That's cool. Yeah, everything's frozen. I can't change anything through StreamYard, so that sucks. Here, you know what? I'm gonna try to refresh here. One second.
Oh.
It won't even let me reload.
Oh, geez.
Oh, it's Google Chrome.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh well. Would it even be a stream by us?
If there wasn't some like issue.
Right? I can't even scroll the comments. Nothing. Like it will not let me do anything. Wild. No interaction at all.
That's crazy.
It let me do it.
Oh, there we go.
It let me reload all of a sudden.
Hanging on by a thread there.
All right. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like I get a lot of the like, oh, it's priced too high with the Rode Streamer X, and they were the first ones to the market with something like that for gamers. And I know Roland had one out that was meant for Zoom calls. Like they had that little unit. It was
Yeah.
to take streams.
Yeah.
So like what are you going to do? It's a pay to play market. Audio gear always has been.
Yeah.
You, Dylan, for let's say the Duo,
Yeah.
$500 US. 10 years ago, what could you get for $500 US? Pre-song?
Yeah. 10 years ago? I mean, well, 10 years ago there were Oh shit, even that.
10
Well,
years ago was only 2014, dude.
yeah, I mean, certainly nothing that had the firepower of the Duo from what I've seen. I mean, I would say for that, that's a decent value.
Yeah, I'm frozen up again. All right,
Like
so Dan Foss is staying up.
I can think of things that you would get back in, you know, 2014, but you know, everything is either a real basic kind of good quality but basic interface, or I think like a mixer.
Yeah, like a just flat out mixer, maybe
Yeah,
not even a mixer interface.
Like a Mackie Onyx, like a small Mackie Onyx board.
Yeah.
You could probably get for that much money with like a basic USB out, 2 channel in and out, like nothing digital.
No, God, no.
Yeah,
You know what's funny about that, by the way, you bring that up. So the Onyx or Onyx, however you want us to call it, those preamps, a lot of people complaining about how Mackie has an upgrade. They still running Onyx preamps. Those things have been upgraded so much over the years.
and they actually, I mean, originally they weren't bad. I mean, they weren't artistic by any means, but they were good. They were decent little preamps. Not, you know.
They're 80 dBs now. You get 80
Yeah.
dB of gain out of the new Onyx preamps.
Yeah,
they've
they're not crazy noisy. I mean, when
No.
you get up near 80 dB, of course, there's some.
What do you need
noise.
80 dB for, dude?
Ribbon
Like
mic.
outside of a ribbon mic, what do you
Um,
need 80 dB for? Like, there's very few things. And if you're running a ribbon mic, you're probably running a preamp anyways, like
Yeah.
an inline preamp of some sort. You don't need 80 dB for almost anything else. Like 65 dB will basically run the world for you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In most cases, yeah. Now it depends. I mean, if you're recording, and this is the thing, right? Is Mackie boards are not for voices; they're for all kinds of different sources. So if you're miking up, like an acoustic guitar with an SM7B, which is not uncommon in like a broadcast, like in a studio scenario, not in a recording studio, but necessarily. Even then, yeah, you would.
Yeah.
You need a lot of gain for that because you need like 65 dB to drive, like for a voice, which is really loud. Like acoustic guitars are one of the quietest sources you'll have to record, and so
That's fair.
If you're gonna get noise issues and you're gonna have to really crank that extra little bit of gain, it's gonna be when you're on a real quiet source.
What are you doing in the background there, by the way?
Oh, I'm gonna fix this.
What's it?
My audio is being wonky.
Oh, is it? What are you doing in the background there? You just playing? You working?
No. I'm trying to. I was working a little bit. Now I was on watching the stream and being involved here.
It's going to be an alcohol Friday for you, I can imagine. It's been this week. Nothing has gone right.
Oh yeah.
I have started 3 different videos this week. So I got the My Creator video that I'm doing.
Nice.
I'm doing a video on the LA 120s, the pencil mics. I've got the video on the mainstream. Oh, and I've also got the video on the Mackie DLZ Creator XS. And it's just been like, I'll start one and then, oh God, this comes up. I got to start this. I start another. Oh God, then another thing. And it's just been absolutely mind numbing this week. And then I got a podcast episode dropped on me by a podcaster. So it's been,
fun.
Yeah, it's been fun. This interest. So I cannot highlight anybody's comments. However, I can get to them. Do you guys use Rode products? That's Nickel Ninja 2. Yes, I use.
Yeah, I do now.
Rodecaster Duo is my main testing rig. I use the Rode Streamer X for streaming. That is choice, by the way. I don't have to use it. I do have the Elgato the Camlink 4K. It's useless to me now that I have the Streamer X. I use the Rode series of microphones. The NT2A was my go-to voiceover microphone for years. The NT1 I absolutely love. It's hard. Like Rode has a great lineup of affordable but very good.
Powerful.
microphones. We have the NT5s on the way. Oh yeah, and the PSA1. I use the PSA1 Plus. I actually have 4 of them around the studio for doing different things with.
Oh man.
The 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 usability of the PSA1 Pluses are just, it's out of this world. Love it. I had a pop earlier, but I actually mean pop. I don't drink booze. Canada, we call them pops. I don't think that includes booze. Use the road. Mackie said the companion app comes out next month. Input pass through at 4K. Yeah, I think they've got the pass through at 4K already. That's WooPig podcast. The companion app coming out a month after it comes out is frustrating, not gonna lie. Although I don't know how much you require the pass through app, unless you want to do some of the stuff that Rode does with Unify. So yeah, we'll see. For the Wave XLR for streaming over the Duo, some audio quality for my RA20. Or same audio quality for my RA20. Yeah, I mean, it's Wave XLR. I never got into the Elgato system. Not a big fan of the Wave mic. But yeah, I mean, do what you love. My wife uses the Rode AI USB interface with a label for her work. And FYI, her machine is locked down due to healthcare requirements, and the Rode AI will work on Windows without additional drivers. Nice. A lot of stuff nowadays, it's fascinating. Drivers is a fascinating thing.
Yeah.
In this world right now, and I'm going through that this week myself. I actually have a video ready to go for Monday. I don't know if it's going to drop Monday or Wednesday, about me switching my whole testing and usage over to Mac. And it's all because of drivers. It's all Windows has ruined audio gear for me. And it's stuff like that, like lockdown because you can't use additional drivers. And it's like, why do we need I understand why we need drivers, but man, the solutions on Mac are just so much nicer. And I know it's going to cause so many fights in the comments, and I can't wait for it.
Probably not. I mean, most content creators, like I'm an outlier, and I know that. But a lot of creative, especially like more on the creative side rather than the engineering side, use Mac. And that's not to say that there aren't a ton of really good engineers that use Mac. There are, but the more like not from a music engineer standpoint, but the like engineering minded, I find tend to choose like Windows as an environment to work with because it's for the tinkerer. Like I can really customize my rig and how I have everything set up, and I don't notice any performance issues. I'm on a very overpowered rig, but like it punches through anything I throw at it. So it cost me about the same amount that a Mac would have cost me. So.
All right, I think it's my mouse that's dying. That's why I couldn't actually trigger anything. That's fascinating. Thank you, Apple Mouse, that I can actually have to turn over to plug in. Mac is the only way to go. I love this Gear Junkie. I love that 35.
As we're talking about Mac, it's like
right. I know. I'll shut up now. Gear Junkie, any suggestions on getting Windows 8 drivers to work on Windows 10? Sucks. Yeah, you know what? And that's the thing. Like, with the way the audio world is going right now, and we talk about that Rode's becoming the next Apple, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Their ecosystem is tight, but it's interesting when you look at how most audio gear nowadays is built on Mac. All of the infrastructure for the gear is being developed through Mac, and there's a very specific reason for that. So 10 years ago, not even actually 2017, before AMD released Ryzen, every computer system, it was a healthy guess to bet that everything was built on the Intel infrastructure, right? So if you were building something, it was a good chance that the computer you were building it for was running an Intel based something or other. And so a lot of stuff could be built around that. But then AMD started like really rising up with Ryzen. And it split PCs down the middle. Ryzen's were cheap. They outperformed Intel in some respects. And so companies were like, well, what do we build for? They're basically the same. But when you're talking about drivers, it's the same for relative like kind of base level programming, like the programming that's working. But when you're talking about drivers, stuff that's interacting with the core of your computer, with the CPU, yeah, those drivers might not work. And I ran into that with the first gen Ryzen and the my AudioFuse Studio. It didn't quite work very well, and every once in a while I would blue screen because of my interface, and I wouldn't be able to turn it back on until I unplugged my interface. And that was just the drivers for it did not work well with first gen Ryzen. So I think since everyone's just moved to Mac, they're like, screw this, we're not going to mess around with this. If we have to build for 2 PC systems, why bother? So
Yeah, well, and again, I think a lot of the community is on Mac, because the nice thing about Macs is they just work. I mean, you plug them in, you put an app on, everything is relatively simple, and that appeals to a lot of people. I totally get that.
Cookie Dough Plays. How's it going? I've never seen you here.
Welcome.
It says, I used to be Audio Village. Okay, been following since 4K, but hope you're well. Hey, buddy, or person, whoever you are, welcome. Audio Village. I remember the name. That's an interesting change going from Audio Village to Cookie Play-Doughs or Cookie Dough Plays. That's a wild name change there, man. Gear Junkie tries running as admin. I stalled on safe mode. I gotta love PCs.
Had to do that. My SSL drivers are from like 2011, and they're certainly never going to be updated now. And so I just did, like, when you run an installer, you can run it in like compatibility mode, and then you choose an operating system that Windows sort of pretends to be. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In my case, for my driver installer, it worked fine, and the drivers work as expected. So yeah, that and any program that the driver might install that you have to run, if it doesn't run just by default, some will anyway. But if it doesn't, then yeah, run it in compatibility mode. If you right click on it, go to properties,
Sean Webb, you've been really good at suggesting products for entry-level content creators, starting off with real financial limitations. But now you're saying Mac and Road, which is money. I don't make the rules. That's the thing. Like, buying a product that doesn't work with a Windows PC because they didn't flesh out the drivers for it isn't my fault. And yeah, I can't, like, I still have a PC. I still use my main rig is still PC. I do my video editing and everything on Mac, but I also have a company that's based around doing reviews. And you know what a company based around reviews can't do? It can't run around chasing its tail trying to get the bloody drivers to work. I basically put my old laptop in the ground because of the drivers that just got inundated on that laptop. But you can't really remove drivers unless you wipe the whole system. Like, you literally have to do a complete wipe to get rid of the drivers, or you got to get the cleaning software. CC Cleaner used to be one, but they don't even work. So from a review perspective, I'm not telling you to go out and buy a Mac. What I'm telling you is everything's built on Mac. And if you want to be a content creator with financial limitations, companies don't have to pander to you for if you have financial limitations. And that's the cruel truth of life in the world, is if you only have $200 to spend, no company is going to feel bad and pander to you for that. There's prices coming down, like just this MainStream versus the Streamer X, $100 off. This MainStream is about the same price that what was the Focusrite, the Focusrite podcast thing, same price. So I mean, entry level for people that are financially strapped is Behringer, or is PreSonus, the PreSonus Revelator IO24, which, I mean, there's a few people in this group that really, really love it.
But as you said, though, like, this is not, like, getting into any new hobby requires you to set aside some money for an investment, or a handful of investments. And, like, I don't know, somebody once told me, like, for any serious creative hobby, you should expect, you should save up basically $1,000, and any creative hobby is going to start you off decently with, like, $1,000. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's a good number. And so, yeah, unfortunately, it's shitty that if you don't have money kicking around, or you're paying exorbitant rent fees like all of us are right now, and probably don't even have a ton of space, that you're gonna have to work around some shit.
Well, also, like, use your phone. If you're
Yeah.
financially strapped, everyone has one of these. If you want to be a content creator, use your phone if you're financially
use that
strapped.
to make money, and then but
Yeah.
at some point you're gonna need to increase output, and so if you got to do that, then I would definitely, but make a little bit of money first if that's what you need to do.
State Route 375 says, of note, not to start a war. However, when I was at CIO at a higher ed edu, I guess that's a college in the US, we were able to keep Macs in service far longer than a PC. So the cost premium is not as extreme as one would think. And it's also like the downtime for upgrades. So when you look at healthcare is a great example. If you go into a hospital, there are still computers using XP.
Yep.
There's still, because the cost to upgrade, the cost to get all of those computers working on the same with all the bugs being dealt with across the whole network, all that stuff is just too much. Like, the idea of doing all that is just, it's ridiculous. So all of these computers that were literally implemented in Windows XP days, Windows 7 is another one. I was at a dentist's office that still uses Windows 7.
Yeah, I mean, if it works now,
Yeah.
what concerning about those places in particular is there are security vulnerabilities
Oh yeah,
on
a
these
lot of them
older
are closed
systems.
circuit, or they've
They
closed off
they
the
have to be.
network. Yeah,
Or at the very least are like locked down like crazy when it comes to like installing stuff. And like at work, we're running Windows 10, like a lot of private companies, and so we're pretty lax. I mean, I'm not going to say we're extremely lax, but like, I don't know. I installed on my laptop with elevated rights, the audio, what the hell? The Arturia Audio Fuse.
Audiofuse
Audio
Studio.
Fuse Studio, yeah. Blanking on that.
Don't you? That's what I'm usually like on Fridays, man.
Yeah, no, it's rough.
Yeah. So Sean says, I'm absolutely loving this because so many channels are saying to start your home business with existing resources and a $200 starter audio budget. Yeah, and you know what I mean? It's part of the problem that a lot of people have gotten used to is, like, they get mad when they see all these products that are expensive, quote unquote expensive, but they're not, man. Entry level is not $100. I don't know what to tell people that think that entry level is a $200 startup. Entry level into audio is about $1,000. That's without your computer.
Yeah, well, and that's like some kind of a stand, that's a mic, that's
Yeah.
software. That's
Yes.
software. You can't forget software.
But it's the mic, it's the boom arm, it's the stand, whatever you want to call
the
it.
interface. Yeah.
XLR cables are not cheap.
Yeah.
You need an interface. And it's just this, like, it's this concept that, well, why is it so expensive? It's not. It's, you have expectations of products being given to you, the world given to you for less than $200 is not necessarily fair to everyone. Like, you can do a lot with $500 worth of gear. You can do a ton with $500 worth of gear. You can do a lot with a $100 microphone, but people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that you can use an SM58 for pretty much anything in the world. No, I don't want to hear that crap. I want something that looks great. Let alone if you want a camera, if you want an actual video setup, good God, you're talking even more money than that.
Oh yeah, like, I don't know. I got a pretty decent kind of mid-tier, what I consider a mid-tier Nikon camera for photography, video work, all that stuff. And the body itself was like $1,200.
Yeah.
And that's no glass either.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up a couple here. SR 375 has a good one, but first, Sean, I appreciate people being honest in what you can do in a budget, especially when you'd be competing in a market where their rivals have the toys. It raises expectations. Yes, it does. You don't need all the toys to do. Like, for example, we did when we did Hurt, recorded on $100 microphone. Sure, Dylan used $100,000 worth of plugins to produce that song, and that's the stuff that you don't hear. But I'm sorry, you're not going to have the same result with $5 or free plugins that come along with the unit. He didn't use a starter version of a DAW. It's yes, I know there's a lot of people that like, why do I have to spend more? Because there's people developing that stuff, right? Why do the good plugins cost $1,000 just to like be able to use those plugins? Because people spent hundreds of thousands of hours developing them, right? Like you have people that are doing that's their whole job. So yeah, they want to get their money back.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. I do also want to bring up the SR375. Oh my fucking God. Everyone wants to spend $500 on a microphone, $500 on an interface, and then wonder why it sounds like crap. And my favorite question is, does this mic reject room sound? Does
Yeah.
this $500 mic, is it better for echo in your room?
Yeah. No, it's get a better room.
Get like, dude, do something. And it's like you can, so a
Well,
$500 box of Oralex it feels like a lot because it's foam that you put on your wall. It's a $500 box of Oralex. But you know what it does? It translates your audio from garbage into, oh my God, you don't sound like shit. It's
yeah.
$500.
Here's the thing: if you want professional results, and this is the vicious cycle, unfortunately, of the audio, well, and the technology world, really. If you want professional results, you've got to get a professional product. And if a product is made to be professional, it means that it's made for people who have money to spend on. It's like it's made for businesses, right? Businesses make money to be able to buy things like that. So that's why you've got like the NVIDIA GeForce cards and the NVIDIA Quadro cards, which are basically the exact same card, but are like, because of quality control, the Quadros are like 800 times the price. But they're exactly the same amount of power. It's just one is more reliable, right?
Yeah.
The Quadro card doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't crash, or at least doesn't crash as frequently.
Cookie dough plays. Room treatment can be $1,000 alone. You're right, it can be.
So
but you
true.
know it's not? Room treatment, you can make your own panels. Mine cost me about $20 per panel, and I've got 6 of them. You can use bookshelves. Bookshelves are amazing you have to have books on it, by the way. You can't just be an empty bookshelf. Curtains, hanging curtains, putting just stuff on your walls, having uneven surfaces around your room. And the best part is having clutter.
Yeah.
Clutter actually creates a better atmosphere for recording in than anything. You watch my first video, I recorded in a concrete basement, nothing on the walls, but it was just full of trash. Like it was where we dropped everything.
It, right? Like people don't like a quadratic diffuser, which is, a piece that you put at the back of a control room, and oftentimes it is literally through some crazy parabolic math. These different layers of stuff that basically changes the dimensions of the wall so that the wall's not as uniform in various places, to diffuse different frequencies off in different directions so that standing waves are not going to form as uniformly. And so physical stuff in your room does the same thing. It's just not as pretty.
Well, and that's the thing. Like if you want pretty, make sure the camera's pointing at the one wall that's not treated. The most important wall to treat is the one behind you, or the ones directly off to, but the one that's behind you that's coming back into the microphone is the worst. Jimmy J, this is a good question for Dylan. Would I benefit from upgrading to a Rodecaster Duo even when my venue only has a 3.5 millimeter jack into their audio system? I know my workflow would improve, but are there limitations via 3.5?
I mean, they're brittle. Like 3.5 millimeter cables make me nervous because they're so easy to break. And if there's something wrong, I mean, I don't know if you're skilled enough, but oftentimes the way that they're mounted is not the same. So if you, I don't know, break a connector or break a socket for a 3.5 millimeter cable, have fun fixing that. You can buy new ones, obviously. Whereas with a 1/4 inch or XLR, like those connections are very repairable and replaceable if you need to. And so, yeah, I mean, other than that, though, I mean, as far as like,
Jimmy J says, I have spare cables. The problem is it's not just the cables. Sometimes it's the actual, the port, 3.5
yeah,
inch port. You trip on that cable and you yank it to the
yeah,
side.
well,
And
and
yeah,
it's one thing that I've always been critical of with the USB-C form
yeah.
factor is really tiny.
It's small. All right. I think we're down. Is this line level? And he's cautious. Yeah, I mean, try it. It's not going to like a 3.5 jack into their audio system. Maybe check what their audio system is. It must be pretty old to only have a 3.5 jack
Or
into
very,
it,
very, very basic,
or very cheap.
like
Yeah.
an AliExpress job or something.
Um, but yeah, like I mean, it's not going to limit you from a an audio perspective. Like it's not going to sound worse because it's over a 3.5. Um, so wow, it's 6:02. Wow, we burned off an hour there, Dylan. That
Didn't
was,
feel like it.
that was yeah. So a lot of the stuff, Sean's kind of waving the flag about, uh, um, having differentiate yourself with training, talent and quality content. Yes,
Yeah,
like what you do in your workflow has to be good still. Like, and one of my favorite things that I did was I did the video about 5 artists that created masterpieces with cheap gear. And a lot of people, they're like, yeah, well, yeah, but it's also going to a studio and it's getting mixed down. It's like, but that doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
there's garbage music is not going to be reproduced. No one's going to like um turn a turd into a diamond that way. It just doesn't work. Good production can make great sound amazing, but if you are garbage, it's always going to be garbage. And that's doesn't matter how much money you spend on gear for that. And I do agree with what Sean's alluding to. And yes, you do require to hone your skills before you go and spend
100%.
$1,000 on gear.
100%. Get good
Um,
at something.
I don't own a lot of uh, uh, plugins for audio production because I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at like shaping sound in Logic, even though I have access to all these things because I'm learning and I don't have a lot of time to learn. But I'm going to go out one day and I'm going to spend, the $2,000 on the Native Instruments package for all these instruments and all these what is a fab filter I'll buy.
Yeah.
Sure, but not until I'm not spending that money until I'm confident I'm capable of utilizing it. It's not going to make any of my products better by owning that right now. I really suck at this stuff. So true, garbage is garbage. Yeah, garbage in, garbage out. Yeah, that's it's people don't like to hear that though. People don't like to think that their product is garbage. That said, just because your product is garbage now doesn't mean it's going to be garbage later. I know that
I
certain
mean,
like I've
honestly, I think we're on the cusp of garbage in, diamond out. Because I mean, I'm thinking in my head about like what AI has allowed people that have no artistic quality at all, and then set up a business where they provide graphic design services based on typing prompts into an AI generator.
yeah.
And so like I don't think we're far off, as almost maddening as it is, where yeah, people that have no skill or talent can actually make money in the same industry. Like, we're getting to the point where mastering a song, which still for many is a job, right? Being a
Yeah.
mastering engineer is a job. There's products you can pay and you could just throw your mix in, press a button, and it masters for you. Is it going to be the same quality? No, but it's certainly infringing on those people that, well, quite frankly, probably couldn't afford mastering anyway. But yeah,
SR375 says, not so sure about that. AI is so bad right now. Have you not seen the Taylor Swift photos? And
it's
that's a
not
crude
amazing, but that's not to say that people aren't still making a ton of money using AI to create things.
AI is really good in doing certain things. It's just you got to pay for it. And a lot of people are like AI is garbage. Actually, when you pay for it and you actually get some of the higher tier AI, it's frightening.
Oh yeah,
It might not be
mid,
mixing songs.
the big one for photos is like Midjourney, right? Like
Yeah.
I've got a friend that that is like becoming kind of an expert at Midjourney prompts. It's funny that that's almost a job now. And just he'll post a picture and be like, "Oh, that's cool. He's doing." I'm like, "Wait, that's Mars. What the fuck?" Oh, it's Midjourney.
SR375, I use it for code every day and it's wrong 90% of the time and I do pay for it. There are certain avenues, like with music production, I don't think AI is very good right now.
Nope.
There
Although
are
again, there's automated AI driven mixing and mastering assistant tools
yeah.
that give you a pretty good starting point. Like if you were to, I don't know, I mean, I wouldn't be, that would be interesting. Try doing an entire mix with just that, with just like
Ooh,
AI
that's a
mixing
video,
tools.
dude.
Yeah.
That's a video.
And just see what happens. It's
That'd be
going to be
funny.
bad. I just don't know how bad.
See, I'm avoiding AI for a few reasons. I get contacted by a lot of companies. Here, actually, I'm going to pull up one of the emails because I'm going to ask the group, ask the chat what they think of this idea. Because it struck me like it would be an okay video, I'm guessing. So it's called Swell AI. They want to do, so it's basically AI that writes podcast notes. It basically does all the shitty work you don't want to do for podcasting, and they want to pay me decent money to do a video on it. They basically want to sponsor a video, which I'm not necessarily against. Don't get me wrong, like I'll do sponsored content like that, but whether or not my viewers want to see that is the reason I don't answer that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, but that's also kind of usable. That's actually something that a lot of podcasters would love. Show notes suck. There's people that pay people just to do show notes.
Yeah.
Like, can you even imagine? Like, there's a job out there where you do the final upload and show notes for a podcast. You don't edit it. You don't do anything. You just do show notes. So yeah, like I try to avoid touching AI, but if you guys think doing more AI based stuff, if we do an AI based video, Dylan, I do know like I'm gonna get hit by thousands of people like trying to throw money at me to do AI.
Yeah.
I would work with mixing mastering if they're willing to pay for it. Like that would be interesting if I reached out to a company that did that, the mixing mastering.
Yeah, and be
I'll,
like, hey, we'll do a song and we'll like review it and we'll see.
Yeah, I'll see. Jeff Geerling did a bit about using AI for his show notes. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, he was probably paid by this company. Did a bit about using AI for his show notes. This is probably the company that he was. They did send me a couple of people they've worked for or they've worked with. Is this? This is Swell AI tutorial. I don't know who this is. Where is this? Come on, let's get this on YouTube. Mark Savant. Okay, I have no idea who Mark Savant is. No offense, Mark. And then there's another one. Best. Oh. Okay. Shh. Phase World Media. Okay. So yeah, there's people doing it. And it's probably this company that paid them to do a sponsored video on it, which there's nothing against that. It's just whether or not my viewers actually want to see that stuff, which I try to keep in mind, especially if I'm going to have money thrown at my face. So
yeah, obviously, yeah.
Anyways, that's it, guys. Stay tuned. At some point, either tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a live stream with the mainstream. We're going to be streaming a game, probably a PS5 game, possibly even a PC game. I can run it from my PC, but I kind of wanted to do console because I did have a couple questions about it. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be happening at some point this weekend. Other than that, we'll see you next week. Have yourselves a great weekend, guys. Bye.
Bye.